Good evening, because I'm in India.
Hello, how you doing? I'm just going to mute everybody as I get broadcasting here. Okay, welcome. We're now broadcasting to YouTube. Welcome to another free on-page course. In this course, I'll be going over how to build pages and do all of your on-page that you need to do with the tool SEO Copilot. SEO Copilot is a new tool that uses artificial intelligence. It's quite advanced. It's much more advanced than, say, ChatGPT. It uses a very complex chain of thought ideation to outsource a lot of the thinking and analysis and competitive analysis that an SEO consultant would have to do. I've been doing SEO for 25 years, and we needed a tool to go faster. And so SEO Copilot can easily save you hundreds of hours per month, at least. To do a fully high quality EAT page that actually has a chance of ranking this day and age would take 10 to 20 hours of competitive research for anything that makes good money, like 10, 20, 30 grand a month kind of a deal. And that's just going to increase for every other niche that makes less money as well. And we decided that this is my think tank, SEO University, Underground SEO University. That's the group that came up with all the science that proves all the rankings. And this is the tool that we've built and use. We realized that we had to make a tool and that AI was now new. And so if it sounds too good to be true, if you're thinking it must make crap content, it must be cutting corners. The answer is no, it doesn't cut any corners on the SEO. It uses advanced artificial intelligence to analyze tens of thousands of lines of code and bring you the keywords you need to boost your page, and it'll show you also the data you need to actually succeed at SEO, to make as much money as possible and to rank only on the easiest keywords. Okay, so if anyone has any particular aspect of SEO Copilot you want me to focus on, please by all means put them in the chat, and I'd be happy to focus more on that area. But basically, SEO Copilot breaks down into three main areas. It breaks down into finding the ranking opportunities, finding the boosting on-page keywords. This is where some of the competitor analysis for like what they're doing would come in, except this is that on steroids times 1,000. And then how to write your on-page, how to do your on-page, how to build the article, write the article, do your on-page, and have high-quality human-level EAT content. The old Google acronym EAT, the content that talks with experience, it talks with expertise, it talks with authority, and therefore it's trustworthy. That is factual 99% of the time, unlike other AIs, which are not factual 99% of the time, which quite often hallucinate and are years out of date. The last time ChatGPT was updated was 2023, about a year ago. So if you're writing about anything that has changed in the last year, all of your SEO you wrote with ChatGPT is going to be wrong. It's going to be broken. And that's not going to help your users, and that's not going to help you rank. So it's really revolutionary and really quite exciting. So if no one has a particular area they want to focus on, I'll focus kind of just generally on mostly keyword discovery and then the builder, because quite frankly, the AI does all the work here. It's the step two that you have to do, and it'll build you your BERT models, your TW BERT models, your rank brain models, your vector embedding models, your query interpretation models. It'll rebuild your page type models, your all the different helpful AI models. It'll build it builds like 6 or 7 different models for you that are custom just for you, just for your particular niche, because SEO is not a one size fits all endeavor. It's different per niche. In some niches, you could have this much SEO done. In some niches, you could have that much SEO done. In some niches, what you did for the other niche would be over optimized. For some niches, you'd be under optimized. It's different for every single query space. Which again is a reason why we had to build an artificial intelligence to analyze it. So you don't really have to do a lot of work here. The AI does the work for you, but I'll just quickly jump in there and show you what it does. And then finally, we'll build some articles and I'll show you how it goes. So the first place we're going to start with is keyword discovery. And this is the most important thing to start with. As I mentioned, guys, I've been doing SEO for 25 years. And this used to be standard operating procedure. I don't know why it stopped being standard operating procedure. I don't know why the SEO community just in general has forgotten about this. or gotten maybe lazy. I don't know. But we always used to start with trying to find the low-hanging fruit. That's what it was called. Although this is that on steroids, a little bit better, because the low-hanging fruit doesn't always make you money. We always needed to start with finding the main searches we should go for. And sometimes people are like, well, Josh, I kind of know the search I want to rank for. I want to rank coffee brands South Africa is what I rank. What I want to rank. I have that here, whatever it is. Or I want to rank, AI photo booth. And the answer is maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. With voice search and people talking to Google and their phones in general, with Gen Z and people who think differently and search differently, search has changed tremendously. And I'm always quite surprised to find that the searching trends are not going to be just what you presume they're going to be or what you guess they're going to be. It is the complete difference in the vast majority of SEO projects. It is a make or break moment to do the keyword discovery. It really, really is. And I hope that if anybody takes anything from this course, they take this piece away at least, that you need to do keyword discovery. You need to find the most lucrative and easiest searches to try to rank for. Because here's another thing here's another tough love news flash that I'm going to give you, and that it's 2024. People have been at this SEO game for 25 years now. Some of your competitors have been building signals for 25 years. And I'm sorry, but it's not fair. It's just not. It's not a level playing field. It's not even a level even if Google erased all the signals that exist and you press the go button now, it's still not a level playing field. There are some keywords that are just verboten. That's just it. Google will only rank a major brand there. They will not risk it on any small brands. And everyone in the course today is a small brand. Everyone who's ever been in any of my courses is a small brand. You're not Coca-Cola. You're not Amazon. I mean, top level end stage capitalism monopolies is what Google is. Some of these searches is the
I
only
mean,
thing.
means
Sorry.
Google is biased
Yeah,
towards big brand.
they definitely can be biased for big brands for sure. Yeah, yeah.
And one more thing, can I interrupt you for Joe?
No, I just want to kind of push ahead and try to get the pieces of the course done that I need to get done. There'll be time at the end for questions.
Sure.
Great, thanks a lot. Okay, so as the wise gentleman pointed out, Google's just not fair. That's just the way that it is, and it's more than just big brands. They are biased towards sites that have given them good answers in the past. It's something that the SEO community generally calls, or I call, Google inertia. And so SEO is perfectly possible, and SEO is not dead by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it's even more exciting now with AI helping us do the work. And you can make even more money at it now because so many people who were lackluster SEOs but still getting rewarded by Google, 90% of them have been kicked out of the market. That's good news for us. Of all the wolves on the plains, most of the wolves have died off. We are the only wolves left, and there's still plenty of caribou to go around. However, you need to be a little bit more choosy in the caribou you're going for, if I could use this very Canadian example of the Arctic tundra. You need to be much more choosy, and you need to make sure that you are more efficient than your competitors. Because here's the thing that people don't understand. And I'm going to say something rather controversial. Apologies to people who've heard me say this a million times, but it bears being repeated. Ranking number one is not how you win at SEO. It's not. Ranking number one faster, easier, cheaper, with methods you can rinse and repeat that are risk proof. This is how you win at SEO. Do you want to be an SEO for 6 months and then fail and have to get a job somewhere else? No, you do not. Therefore, the person who wins at SEO is the person who can rank number one, but they can do it faster, they can do it more efficiently, they can do it cheaper, they can do it by incurring less risk. Their on-page analysis and their on-page implementation is stronger, it's better. They're squeezing all of the on-page juice out of their rankings that they can, so that they need less off-page signals that are all the risky signals, right? Doing on-page is perfectly white hat. Doing on-page completely perfect is entirely white hat. This is an entirely white hat tool. Here, I can change it to light mode if you want. There, now it's an entirely white hat tool. That hurts my eyes though. I'm gonna go back to dark mode. Doing on-page perfectly is an entirely white hat procedure. It's when you start doing the off-page things that you start to incur the big money and the big risk. So you need to squeeze everything out of your on-page that you can. And you need to first do analysis to realize the keywords that were even within your grasp. You need to do the research to find the keywords that were even possible for you at your life cycle or wherever your site is at. The younger the site is or the sicker the site is, the easier keywords you need to go for to build up a portfolio, to build up trust with Google, is where you need to start. The vast majority of SEO campaigns, guys, trust me, please, if you're going to believe anything I say, please believe this. The vast majority of SEO campaigns, this is where they go wrong. Either the boss, if you're an in-house SEO, the boss traipses down to your office and says, we need to rank for this, make it happen. And without doing any keyword research, without thinking at all about whether it's possible for you to rank for this, whether it's going to cost you $500 in a month to rank for this, or it's going to cost you $50,000 in 2 years to rank for this. That's literally the difference in some cases. Realize that is the difference in some cases. It could be free in some cases, I will show you today as well, other than your time and working with the tool. Or, you're trying to rank for an affiliate niche. You got an affiliate niche that makes a lot of money, for example. You're looking at some of these niches here and you're salivating. You're like, wow, Josh, I'd love to make, for ranking for the top 80 queries in coffee, I'd love to make a third of $1 million a month, roughly, plus or minus 50%, because this is a rough ballpark. But there's a lot of money in the affiliate niches here. I'd love to have that. Or you might be like, hey, Josh, I'd love to be making around 50 grand a month to rank for the top 80 queries in home security. Yeah, or weight loss makes a lot of money. Lawyers can make a lot of money. Sure, you can still go for those. Some of these are not completely impossible, but some of them really are getting really difficult. And you really can't just wing it. That's not going to work, right? So I want to see you succeed. It is my job to help you succeed. It is my job. It's a symbiotic relationship. If you guys can rank and succeed, I get to keep getting paid by people in SEO University in my mentorship group because I gave you the good advice, because I did all the scientific research and I've been doing it for 10 years and we have the best group at it, just hands down, period. I think we're the only group left still doing it scientifically, hands down, period. I think. Join the group and see the difference. If you're an SEO Copilot customer, I'm willing to give you a huge discount on SEO University. I'm willing to knock off 50%, 50% of the cost of SEO University. So that's the first freebie. I promised there'd be freebies, and there's tons of freebies actually. That's the first one. If you're an SEO Copilot customer, email me and say you're an SEO Copilot customer. I'll check your email, and if you're a paying customer, I will gladly knock off 50% of the monthly cost for our mentorship group, and I guarantee you will double or triple your SEO game by joining our mentorship group. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. That's the first freebie. Make sure you email me for that. Again, my email is joshbashinsky@gmail.com. That's my full name, Josh, B as in Bob, ACH, Y as in YouTube, N as in Nancy, SKI@gmail.com. No dots, no dashes. So it's really important to start, I hope, after that rant, it's really important to start doing the keyword discovery. And you can start really high level or really low level. For example, I just put in stuff like coffee. You saw that I did down here. I don't know, I like coffee. Maybe I want to do an affiliate for coffee. And again, if you're thinking, but Josh, I don't do affiliates, so this doesn't apply to me. That's completely wrong. I'm sorry. I love you, but that's completely wrong. This applies to all of SEO. This applies to consulting, to in-house, to local, to global, to affiliate, to rank and ret, to digital real estate. It applies to every single layer of SEO, every single type of SEO. You need to look at the keywords first to see if there are any here that A, make any money, and are B, even possible to even go for to start. And even if you have a seasoned site, you should really still be doing this, because it's the person who has the best final return on investment score It's the person who in their portfolio of the queries they're trying to rank for, whatever they are, in whatever type of SEO they are, it's the person who has the best final return on investment. They can rank faster, cheaper, easier. They can rinse, repeat. They can iterate on this faster, easier, more efficiently, better, and it's less risky. Those are the people who will have a job in this for the next 20 years. Anyone who doesn't will not. So I don't want to see you fail in the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, however long that's going to be. I want you to succeed. I want you to be able to work in SEO and have a whole career in it for your entire life, like I have, quite frankly. Been doing it since around 25. Now I'm about 50. I plan to be doing it for another 20, 25 years, and then hopefully I can retire by that point, maybe sooner. And that's entirely possible given everything that's going on, because I know how SEO works, and I know how to make AI that's going to be able to do a lot of the SEO work. And increasingly every month, my AI will be doing more and more SEO work for you. Okay, so does anybody have a particular keyword you want me to put in? If you have a particular keyword you want me to put in, please put it in the chat here in the Zoom, or please by all means put it in the YouTube discussion. There's also a YouTube going on. JP says, "Hey dude, just happened to saw you were live passing by YouTube. Hope all is well." Oh, thanks, man. I hope all is going well with you as well, my friend. Okay, so someone said woman public speaking training. Okay, great. That's a great query. So let's go women public speaker training. Now, one question: is this for all locations global? Is this online training you can sell to anybody who types that in, or do you want me to limit this to a particular area? To get accurate stuff, you should limit it to the area that you're going to sell to. And if that's the rest of the world, then that's the rest of the world. They say yes. Okay, so that means the rest of the world. Okay, so let's say get results. Now I'm going to cast a wide net. And my AI is going to automatically iterate, and it's going to do a chain of thought ideation to brainstorm on its own, like it's thinking. And it's going to find, in this case, 1,700 different possible keyword ideas here for you. So it took one keyword with one possibility. Would be good for US. Oh, okay. I could limit it to the US if you want. So boom. I could also limit this to the United States. Get results. So this is around the world. If you could sell to the world and you're ranking for the top 80. Now it looks like the database has this data populated already, so you probably already have run it. Okay, I'll even check for more difficulties to cast the widest net possible. So this one that's just English wide had 1,700 ideas. This has close to the same ideas. This one is just tailored to the United States. I'll run more keyword difficulties for this as well. Okay. So it's very important to cast as wide a net as possible and to run as many difficulties as possible. We do the, we automatically do the top 20 to top 80 depending on an algorithm that the AI decides what looks like it has the best chances for having the best possible searches. And you'll see they'll get run automatically, and then you'll see the ability to run some more. And it will sort them by final ROI. And how does our final ROI score get calculated? Our final ROI, or return on investment, because that's the most important thing, is that each keyword you try to rank for has the absolute maximum return on investment. That's what I meant by faster, cheaper, better, easier, iterative, risk-free. That's return on investment. The money and time you spend is pound for pound the most efficient spend. That's how you win at SEO. SEO is not properly put in marketing. SEO is, and I used to teach this at Fanshawe College in London, Ontario, and it was very, very boring, but it's very, very good for business. It's called business process analysis when I was waiting to get between my master's degree and my PhD. Business process analysis and business process optimization. That's where you lump in SEO, because it has to be more efficient as a business process. And the business with the most efficient business processes is the one that succeeds and continues forward and is profitable and makes you money. Makes you the kind of money that's going to give you a better life. Makes you the kind of money that you can retire on and not always just skimming by month to month. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a career is what we're talking about here. Okay, so it looks like the other the other things are ran, and I can sort by final ROI again here. So here we have the final return on investment. So woman public speaker training, it came up with a whole bunch of different ideas that are generally related. And look, there's some really good money here, and there's some really good niches here. For example, the executive coaching program here in the United States has 1,300 searches. It's up 300, almost 400% in the last half year. And it can make, on average, as a revenue ballpark, it can make about $1,000 a month. Now, that is just a rough approximate. Let me tell you how we get the keyword ROI. Google has an economist on staff who's a scientist, a real scientist. And the economist did a giant statistical data correlative study and found out that on average, across the board, it's a 1-to-2 ratio of cost for CPC to revenue. And that is a real hard number, right? So that means that we have a real hard number to start with. So what we do is we take the Google Ads competition. If it's low, we do 1-to-2 ratio. If it's medium, we do 1-to-3 ratio. And if it's high, any of these are high, none of them are high. If there's a high one, we'll do a 1-to-4 ratio, multiplying this times that. Then we take 30% of the traffic, that's what you would get approximately for ranking number 1, is 30%, including the featured snippet or including the generative AI result, which is about the same. People click through about the same, 30%. And then we take a 5% conversion ratio of that. We would multiply the conversion rate by this percentage, because depending on how hot it is. So this would be times 4. So it'd be it's presuming about a 20% conversion ratio for this because it's so hot. And that's how much money you roughly make. Now this, I admit, can be off by as much as 50%. It is just a rough approximate of how much raw money there is behind it. But it is an apples to apples comparison. That this is that much higher than this tells you that this is for pound in terms of making your money or making your client money, which is what you need to do as an SEO, is make your client or your boss or your company money. You need to be lower in the sales funnel, right? Everyone in SEO thinks ranking up here is how you do SEO. They're dead wrong. You want to rank anywhere that makes the most money and is easiest to rank for. That's where you need to be. Who cares about the search sales funnel? That has always been nothing more than just a vague abstraction that SEOs used anyway because they never had a tool that was this efficient to do this math for you. Think about it, right? They're like, well, I'm going to stick to the top end of the sales funnel because that's just what everybody does. Well, that's not a good reason to do it. Or I'm going to stick to the top of the sales funnel because it's easier. Yeah, it's easier to be at the top of the sales funnel. Look at these ones here. They're at the top of the sales funnel. They're easier for sure. They're more long tail informational queries, but they don't make you any money and they barely have any searches. So great, you can rank number 1 for these pretty easily, but you're not going to make any money and you're not going to make your client any money and your client's going to fire you. And when you try to sell the site and try to show that it's lucrative, no one's going to buy it for very much. The name of the game is to be as low in the sales funnel as you can go while still finding keywords that are within your range of trying to rank. And that depends if you're a new site or a sick site, you need to start with the easier. Whereas if you are a top level site that ranks keywords on page 1 regularly, well then fine. Then you can go for the not recommended right off the bat. You are in range of trying to get with this competition here. You are as good as Chicago Booth or London or Raymond James or whoever these guys are, some of which are brands as far as my AI is concerned. Major educational sites. This is basically what it takes. So the money, so I hope you guys realize how powerful of a tool this is, and this is why you need to start every single SEO campaign with this. Barker says, thank you. No problem. You're welcome. This is why you need to start every single campaign with this. This is where you start. And you're like, okay, first off, it depends where you are. If you're like, okay, I've got a site, first off, you start with the final ROI. And you're like, okay, I want to start with the pages that make the most money. Okay, I'm going to favorite this. Then I'm going to favorite this one, this one, this one. These are all average. These look good. Average, tough. How tough is it? Tough can range from 16% and up. Yeah, a new site might be able to try to rank for these ones, even though they're starting to get harder. They're starting to get tougher. And anyway, you could build these up. You could send these to your client. I would recommend building 5 pages a day, which would take you no more than an hour with artificial intelligence. 5 pages a day, 25 pages a week, 100 pages a month, roughly. And then within 2 or 3 months, you've got a big site. It's got 200 or 300 pages. And we know statistically, you will index from 60 to 70%, meaning you will rank somewhere between 60 to 70%, 60 to 70%. If you're not, I want to hear about it, because then there's something's wrong, because that's our average stat. You will be on page 1 for 20 to 30% of them, and you will be ranking number 1 for anywhere from 5 to 15%. It depends on how easy it is and how difficult the niches are. But that's what you need to do. Everybody knows that site weight is a ranking factor, and anyone who's checked out the Google PDF here of the leaked API documentation for their ranking factors also knows that content velocity is a ranking factor. The speed at which you put up high quality content is itself a ranking factor, and a way you can get ahead of your competition. Okay, so we have a question. Hi Josh, is it possible to use the article builder for foreign languages like Spanish or French? The answer is yes and yes. Keyword discovery works great for me, but not the article builder. I've tried, but I've found a way to do that. It's always returning English to use the AI to rewrite. Is there a way to ask the AI to take into account the language I work in? Am I missing something? Yeah. First off, if you select the language, when you do a keyword spy report, when you select the location, go into advanced options and also choose the language as well. That will help. Also making sure your query is in your language you want to rank for is also very important. You could do that. And then CP also can translate it for you. If all that fails, when you're running an article from generate article, you can give in the instructions and make sure to use French. Write it in French, please. You can give the instructions there. Your instructions can also be in the custom knowledge base. It would be all in French, and giving it instructions in French, how to write it in French, and what other various things, which I'll get to. And even if all that fails, after the article is generated by CP, by our article writer, let me find one that was AI generated here. I've been doing a lot of audits lately. Okay, here's some ones that have been AI generated. After the article is generated, you can come down to CP here and say, please translate into French. Into French. And if you need to exceed make the word count higher, say section by section. Really make the article useful and helpful to users from an expert perspective. Boom. And it'll start translating it for you. They say, brilliant. I did not see all those options. Thank you. No problem. Okay, so let's go back here. So again, it is really, really important to start your process. This is foundational to all of SEO. Every single campaign and every single page you build has to be based on a main search. And every main search you decide to try to rank for has to be based on the best final return on investment. And you need to go with the easiest first to build up trust with Google. Here is a recent Here is a recent, I've shown this a couple times. Apologies for people who are like, yeah, Josh, we've seen your recent thing. Here's a client that I'm using SEO Copilot on and building the articles completely out of SEO Copilot. Last 6 months, boom. And they just had a huge ranking boost here. They're ranking for way less queries. It looks like it seems like it's dropped, but actually you see the impressions have gone way up. They've now been chosen for more important queries to rank for. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. You need to watch where the impression line really at the end of the day, this navy blue line is the more important one than necessarily the orange line. This was all from SEO Copilot, right? And have you ever seen this in your Search Console where it's like dots and dashes, or like it's like this, then it's like this, then there's just a dot, then it's like this again. That means you do not have a trusted site. That's Google trying you once and being like, nope, the users didn't like it, they bounced, they didn't like it. Short clicks and long clicks are all ranking factors in Google. They've completely admitted it in the API documentation. Exactly how they are and how to manipulate that, I'll tell you in SEO University. It's way beyond the confines of this OnPage course. It's actually a very powerful ranking signal, the second most powerful ranking signal compared to OnPage. But it's definitely a ranking signal. So this is them going, nope, it's not trusted enough. Not enough pages are trusted enough. But then I built up enough critical mass with enough pages that had enough of a ranking signal that the users liked it. And then Google kept trying me solidly, you could see, for hundreds and hundreds of keywords. Hundreds of them. And lucrative ones too, that make my client money. Not crappy long tail keywords that Google is going to steal with their AI and then answer the question for the user, and you're never going to see any traffic on it anyway. Or the traffic you get on it might be reduced. Let me put it that way. You got to have something unique and valuable to give the user so that the AI can say, yeah, they have this. The answer is this, and they have this and this. Click here to go there. And then they'll go there. You want the AI to be your concierge. You want the AI to sell you. The way you do that is by selecting the right keywords to try to rank for to begin with, that are usually lower in the sales funnel because the user has their credit card close to hand, and that's why that query makes so much money. That's why they bid so much, and that's why I make so much money. So if you see this here, this is because you haven't built a site up yet enough. And it doesn't matter if your site's been going for 20 years. If you see this here, well then the algorithms are sick, your site's sick, the algorithms think it's spammy, it's untrustworthy, it's not relevant, and it's rendered you into this. You are now a new site. You're just like a new site. You need both sites, and in both cases, need to build up new signals. They need to build up more signals that are trustworthy until you see this kind of constant stream of growth. And this would be even more if I was building more pages. This would have been more like this if I was building more pages. I just, have a lot to do. I have three businesses to run, plus three personal projects I'm doing that are important to me. So, that's my excuse. Sorry, that's my excuse. I'm a pretty busy guy. But even with just, doing 40, 50 pages a month, you can get something like this. Okay, so you're like, okay, Josh, great. So I can go down here and I'll start building the ones that are obviously easier or average is where I'll start. This is 3% easier than the rest of the internet. Let me talk about these difficulty scores here first. Actually, let me finish my point. Sorry, I'm kind of frenetic all over the place. So the point is, when you're building your site out, you need to build fast and you need to build a lot. I would recommend 5 pages a day, 25 pages a week, 100 pages a month. That is a pretty good price in our pricing, which I'll talk about a bit later. While I'm at it, here's the second deal for you today. We're doing a limited time, 1 week from today, ending next Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a limited time, we're giving 50 pages, which is up from 1.5. It was 15 pages. Now it's up to 50 pages per month for 1 week only. That's the second freebie for today. Sign up and you can make 50 pages a month. That might be enough for a very small niche. That would not be enough for this niche. This niche is way too difficult. Way too many searches, way too difficult. Think about it. For every not recommended keyword you want to rank, you need like 20 supporting average to easy pages. More or less is a rough approximate. That could be completely off depending on how powerful your site is or how terrible the niche is, how competitive it is. Because not recommended is anywhere from 90% to 190%. It was my ex-business partner that made me make these headings here because he thought it was too complicated to understand. I wanted to say this is 140% harder than the rest of SEO. I just wanted to give the percentage here. So you could have a comparative scale. You could be like, okay, how tough is tough? 31% harder than the rest of the internet. That's how tough it is. How tough is this? This one's 49% harder. This is way tougher than this one. So really mouse over this and make sure you look at the number. And while I'm on it, speaking of that number, what do I mean by 140% and not recommended? This is what it means. It means that I do not recommend you start out with this for basically any project, unless you are literally the best of the best. Unless you are literally one of these guys, what is probably a household brand name for this topic, whatever it is. These guys are probably, for people in the know, these guys are probably household names. So unless you also are a household name in this, I do not recommend going for it to start. You need to start somewhere. You need to build up low and get higher, right? That's what I mean by not recommended. So it doesn't mean that you can't go for it. It just means you need to build up to it. It'll take at least 2 or 3 months building 100 pages a month, quite possibly more. It will probably also require some off-page signals too. On-page is 60 to 70% of SEO these days. The whole process, right? This whole process of, here's the French it started to do. It did it per section. So it just did a translation. Now you would just take this and copy and paste and start doing that. Is what you could do. So anyway, doing this whole process is what I mean by OnPage, the whole thing, including finding this was always lumped in with OnPage, or if you think of it like a phase before OnPage even starts, like the site building phase, how you're going to build your brand and how you're going to think of your site structure and what kind of pages you're going to build out. This starts, that's included in what I include in OnPage. This is about 60% of SEO at least, if not 65, 70% in some niches. In some niches, it's 100% of SEO. If you do this right, you don't need to have any off-page signals if you're in very, very weak niches. A lot of local niches can be like that because local can be quite weak. Not all local though, of course. There's some local that's quite competitive, as you know. Like law, for example. Some lawyers can be quite competitive. Although this is still 5% easier than the rest of the internet. And if you're like, okay, and then that specific number I was referring to, you're like, what does that mean? The rest of the internet. What do you mean by that? Well, let me show you. So this particular number here, this particular one is 139% harder than the rest of the internet. What does that mean? And that could change every time you click on it, although it won't change much. That's because I have over 1,000 users using this system, and they've done over, by now, 1.5 to 1.6 million different competitive data points. When I was doing my PhD, I learned, when I was studying neuroscience and psychology, I did an interdisciplinary neuroscience, psychology, and philosophy PhD, or I was doing. I quit in the middle of it because, quite frankly, I could make a lot more money doing SEO. And in Canada, the teaching job wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Basically, you're a glorified high school teacher in university still, which I didn't want to be. If I wanted to be a high school teacher, I could have done a B.Ed, and I could have done that, $100,000 earlier. So I was like, never mind. But what was I saying? Oh, yes. So there is a standard mathematical scientific formula that scientifically proves you have statistical data validity. And it's a standard formula. And basically the general math works in such a way that if you throw enough data points into it, it becomes highly statistically valid. For example, it's election season in the US, and right now there's a lot of polls about the two different candidates. And they're like, oh, Kamala is beating Trump by 48 to 45, or some polls are like, Trump is beating Kamala from 48 to 45. The thing they don't mention is in those kinds of polls, they don't have anywhere near the numbers they need to say that. There's a swing of anywhere from 5 to 10%, which means it's too close to call. They have no idea. The swing on this number with 1.5 to 1.6 million records is like 0.8%. That's the swing on this number. This number is no more than 1% off at any given time. That's what it statistically means. So it is highly scientifically valid. This is a much more valid and a much more trustworthy difficulty score than literally any other difficulty score of any other tool out there. If you have Ahrefs right now, you can cancel it. If you have SEMrush right now, you can cancel it. SEO Copilot does all the things that tool does, and does it far, far better because it's specialized in doing it. The only competitive point that Ahrefs and SEMrush, to my knowledge, uses for their difficulty scores is the number of backlinks. That is just one of the factors in a 15-point, highly complex chain of thought ideation advanced AI analysis that I'm doing based on my 25 years of SEO experience. So when I say this is 139% harder than the rest of the internet, that's compared against every other single keyword, every other single report has generated of the hundreds of thousands of reports that have been generated by the entirety of my user base, which is the most used part of the system. Although the other parts are quickly gaining ground because they are very useful as well. People are starting to realize and trust that AI can write content, and AI can write it at human level, and it can be factual if you know how to program AI properly. Just going to ChatGPT and asking it to do that, certainly not. Certainly not. Okay, so the thing you need to do is, again, you need to scale. You need to build lots of content, and you need to build it quickly. I recommend, again, five pages a day. It should only take you about an hour, 2 hours tops. And then what do you do with the rest of your 5-hour workday? I don't know, whatever you want. Go play hacky sack, whatever you want to do. But you're like, okay, Josh, great. But I'm one of these sites that my search console looks like this entirely. Clearly, Google's not trusting me enough yet. I don't have the relevancy signals, which are all on-page signals, by the way. They're all completely on-page signals. I don't have mostly, for the most part, I don't have the relevancy signals yet. What am I supposed to do? Well, this is what you're supposed to do. What you do is you come in here, and if you don't find enough stuff to build from the final ROI, you could always sort it by the easier to build to start off with. And you just start building these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. I'm building these 5 today. I will click find the boosting keywords. And then pro tip, I like stripping out all of the geolocation signals. So I will choose the small island nation of Tuvalu. I will use all the models. And I will say continue. Then it'll run all these reports for me. Boom. When those are done, when those 5 reports are done, I'll build those AI articles. I will copy and paste them into my WordPress, and I'm done for the day. Rinse, repeat the next day. You are now scaling faster at a more efficient level, cheaper, and a higher level quality that you can iterate on and do day in, day out than all of your competitors right now, because not a lot of them know about this tool yet. I would get on this tool before they do, because it is a race, and having a head start does count. And if you're like, Josh, okay, I can do that, but then I get down to down here, 15% tough is not too bad. But you're like, okay, it won't take very long before I start getting down to these very tough niches that I'm probably not ready to try to rank for. And I'd say, you're right, you're probably not. How do I fix that? Easy. Go in here to find the end of the difficulty scores and run more. Having sufficient credits to do this is very, very important. I would not cheap out on the credits for keyword discovery. And we have very, very cost-effective keyword discovery plans as well. We have very, very cost-effective plans, period. And so when these are done, you'd sort it again, and you'd find more easier and more average would start getting added to the pot. And that's where you would start. And that's really important to scan those thousands of keywords and to find where your competitors are weak and the traffic, as I said here, is high and ready to buy. All right, does anyone have any questions about that? If there's any questions, please, by all means, put them in the chats. I'll be happy to address any questions. If you're pumped to make a lot of money doing this and to simplify your workflow and build out pages and crank them out that are still high quality, give me a pumped in the chat and we can move on. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Harry says, limo service Los Angeles. Curiel says, hello, how you doing? How are these AI articles doing on Google lately? Weren't they de-indexed quickly, or am I wrong? Other people's AI articles were de-indexed, yes. But that's again because they just went to ChatGPT and they had the shittiest AI making the shittiest articles. So that's not surprising. But no, here, look, I'm not lying to you. These are all AI articles, all of them, completely. 100% AI generated from SEO Copilot. I made 1,000 clicks out of nothing, and he got 66,000 impressions out of nothingness. And also, all of his other keywords went up from this as well here. For example, Jaguar parts, one of his main ones that he's having trouble with, just shot up there. Use Jaguar parts. Use Jaguar parts, looks like it's pretty steady. Jaguar parts online. This one had been getting better slowly as well. So you're going to build the whole site up by doing this, right? This is just content marketing 101, but this is doing it for 2024. If you do content marketing for 2014, it's going to look like this. If you do content marketing for 2024 and you're using AI to scale at the scale you need to scale at, it's going to look like this. Barker gives me a thumbs up. El Volado gives me a thumbs up. Great. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thank you for interacting. It helps me teach better. Okay, so let's move on. So after you find the ranking opportunities, you need to build the keywords. You can do it from keyword discovery, as I showed you. When you're in here and you click one of the results, you can say find boosting keywords. You can also get more keyword ideas you can drill down on that particular keyword and get more ideas in keyword discovery as well here. I can also click on Keyword Spy and I can put any of the keywords in here that I want, like limo service Los Angeles, and start Keyword Spy report. Oh, and I will select United States and say go. Okay, so this one here is done that we ran before, executive coaching program. So again, you can see these by clicking in reports, and you can start an AI, you can generate an AI article from here. You can see all your numbers of how they're looking. You can see we have free ranking. You can see your free ranking and how well that's going. We have free rank tracking. By all means, you can take advantage of that in the tool. So you don't need to have a rank tracker anymore. You can simply do it through SEO Copilot here. And you can see at a glance which numbers are in the red or in the green. And you can click here and be like, okay, let's start the article. Let me click on this one. It was, but if you want to see the kind of data that we grabbed for you, let me show you here. So this is the report. As I mentioned, we build a lot of different models, the RankBrain vector embedding model. Here are two that are very, very important that nobody else has, that are vitally important for ranking since October 7th of last year, for about a year now, actually, since the big bad October 7th date last year, where they put out the spam update. It is the primary and secondary query intent AI selected. And this is analyzing your entire shard collection, which is a fancy way of saying the SERPs, all of your competitors, and determining what is the actual topic that Google's AI thinks needs to rank here and is the only topic that they will rank here or that will get a huge boost ranking here. It used to be in SEO that if we wanted to rank for executive coaching program and we wanted to sell our own executive coaching program, and we didn't want to give any details about different programs and certifications, we just wanted to push our own. It used to be we could do that, and it used to possibly work. Not anymore. Not anymore. That is not going to work anymore. If it did, I wouldn't have had to spend tens of thousands of dollars doing this. Not anymore. The AI is doing what's called query interpretation, is what Google officially calls it. You type in executive coaching program, it types in behind the scenes without you knowing, it rewrites your query or interprets your query to mean this. You type in this, it thinks you mean this, because that's what people have clicked and that's what people want. That's what their quality raters, humans, have rated, and now their AI is now trained off of that, and that's what their AI does automatically, because they fired all their quality raters, as far as we know. They laid off tens of thousands of them, and they only had tens of thousands of them to begin with. So that's why I recommend you use this, and when you're building an article, you notice when I click generate article, that is automatically imported here as the topic of what you're supposed to be writing about. Now, yeah, I can change this into sell my software. And then the custom knowledge base, I can give it the information about the software. And here's the guidelines for doing that, blah, 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 blah. But I do not recommend you do that because that's not going to rank well. The AI has analyzed what you need here. And it doesn't really matter what the BERT entity analysis is. These are the options. This is the one that is the absolute one that's going to rank the best. Nobody else has this. Nobody else even knows, quite frankly. The other thing that we have that nobody else really knows, or they kind of know, but they're completely wrong in how they implement it. And remember how, let me see if it worked, because it's tens of thousands of lines. Remember how people in SEO would say, okay, will the page type, let me find one that actually has one here. It's probably not finished yet, probably. This one here. Let's try this one. Remember how SEO has been saying for years that page type is a ranking factor? Or what page type should I use? They're wondering if it's a ranking factor. The answer is yes, it is, kind of. But that's where it ends. That's where the SEO community has got it right, and that's the length of the knowledge. And in SEO, we basically break down page type into like 3 different types. There's an e-commerce page, and I'm using giant, huge scare quotes around that. There's an e-commerce page, product page. There's a category page. There's a review style blog page. And then there's an informational page. And those are the 5 only kind of pages that exist. Wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. That is not how Google looks at it. And that's never how Google has looked at it. That is how we SEOs have been lazy, quite frankly, or just abstracted things to make it easier for us to work and to try and pretend like we knew what we were talking about and talk to other people about. Google, of course, as you can imagine, is far more complicated than that. Google, instead, if you read the API documentation or if you've tested it the way I've reverse engineered and tested it, what they do is they do a vector embedding, which is a complex artificial intelligence, which has nothing to do with an LLM, by the way. It's a totally different artificial intelligence than an LLM. Vector embeddings is totally different than a transformer or an LLM or ChatGPT. Not the same at all. And by the way, those 2 AIs are not the same as an NLP AI. Those are not the same either. Those are all 3 completely separate, different technologies. They are related to each other, but they're different. So any tool out there that's like, oh, well, we use LSI, they don't use it. Oh, we use NLP, they don't use it for ranking. They don't. Check the API documentation. Check their public documentation. It's not in there, and I've tested it. It's not. They don't use it. If they did, I'd have it. I would have saved $100,000 and I'd be using it. Do you think Josh wants to make it harder for himself that he has to give this long sales pitch? Yeah, hey guys, I want to make SEO harder for all of you because that's really great for sales. It's not. I can assure you it's not. I'm doing this and I'm saying this because I need to, because I'm forthright, because that's how I am. Because this is what's required. Because I use this tool too, and I don't want it, to work only 20% of the time like some other tools do. The other tools don't even publish how much they work. I publicly announce the results of our rankings on a regular yearly or bi-yearly basis, twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, depending how much development we've done. Okay, so long story short is these are the HTML widgets, we call them, or other people, which you would understand that as is the page type. But the page type there's millions of different page types, ostensibly, possibly, and it all has to do with the exact HTML, the elements that are used, otherwise known as the DOM, the document object model, that they use vector embeddings for the document object model. That is a fancy way of saying they statistically calculate through machine learning what pages have what HTML nested in what way with what actual attributes that have these actual values, all of that, and they find out what kind of pages people like for what kind of query. And it renders something like this. So if you don't have lists of features and products and prices and an add to cart and product to and images of them and customer reviews and ratings and star ratings specifically and features in a table, if you don't have this, you're not the right page type. This, all of this, and nothing more than this. The more you're adding a table of contents, you're not ranking. They don't want that here. That's not here. The shard collection doesn't have that. That is not machine learned to the AI being that's what the pages want. And if you're like, but SEOs say that table of contents will help you rank. Well, they're wrong. Sorry, they're wrong. They're completely wrong. You need to have this kind of page, this exact page type. And here's the kicker. You cannot do this manually. It is not physically possible. This is looked through tens of thousands of lines of code to come up with the amalgamation. It is not possible to do this manually. So this is the page type you need to use. And again, we have all this, and then we have the actual on-page weighting of the entities. These longer entities that are phrases, the entities that are single words, all grammatical artifacts, including conjunctions, which used to be ignored as stop words, are not ignored anymore. So they all have a score. They're all relevant. We score all this up for you automatically. You don't need to look at any of this. This is all done for you automatically. 20 hours more, like 100 hours of on-page work is done for you in 10 minutes. Because again, this is not humanly possible to do with your own eyes. You would not be able to do it, even if you tried. And just eyeballing some of your like 3 competitors on page 1 doesn't cut it. That's not going to be close enough. You're leaving a good 4 or 5 spots on page 1 ranking difference on the table. And that would mean you need to buy that many more expensive $1,000 newspaper links that always are in risk of either being devalued because they machine learn, they realize that too many people are buying links from there and all the links get devalued automatically, silently, you'd never know. And or that's what the disavow file did. So we put the nail in our own coffin there by feeding Google links that we thought were bad that they should disavow. Now they just do this automatically, of course. And or, paying so much money to do it. Can you afford a $5,000 newspaper link? Probably not. So this is again why it's so important to so this is super positive, guys. This is why it's so important to, make sure all your on-page is squeezing every little last bit of reverse engineered, scientifically proven, AI assisted, AI hybrid content that is going to get you results like this if you build fast enough and if you build enough. Okay, so again, that's why it's so important that we have 50-page deal here because more pages are better, quite frankly. Okay, So that's the report and what the report does for you. Does anyone have any questions about the reports and any of the other data here? We also have a lot of competitive analysis. You know, does any of it really matter? Not really. Do I ever look at this? Rarely. The place that most SEOs spend 90% of their work, I barely look at because the AI does for me. I don't really care. Now, this one is not ranking here because of OnPage. This one's not here because of OnPage. So basically, I can adjust this average slightly. This average should be slightly higher because these 5% should be out of here. This should be around 58%. But otherwise, it's fine. It's close enough. Does anyone else have any questions about reports? Any questions at all? Is anyone excited that the AI is doing 100 hours of work for you that you don't have to do? Let me know if you're excited about that. Let me check to see if there's any questions here. No questions in the main chat. All right, so the last thing here, Jordan says, when you write, how do you incorporate in brand? I'll tell you that in a second, my friend. Very easily. Okay, and all right, so the article builder, super easy to do. Let me go here to a report that's done. So you go to the article builder, you click generate article, you use the instructions that it has. Now, what if you have specific instructions or custom knowledge you want it to use? Easily. You click custom knowledge base and you click import a file. It could be whatever.txt. And what can the custom knowledge base have? Well, it needs a file format and structure. It needs to be saved as a .txt. It needs to have detailed guidelines. We could have product details, target audience, tone and style, key points to cover. And it should look like this. It should also handle contradictions between information and page design. Coherence first. So as much as your custom knowledge base matches exactly what this says the topic should be, if your custom knowledge base is like, the topic should be about my personal journey, and that's not what it says here, it'll follow this instead. So make sure your custom knowledge base is supporting what the page type is looking for and supporting what the topic is. The degree to which the custom knowledge base is not supporting this or not clearly labeled is the degree to which it'll be ignored. But otherwise, it basically works like this. You say, use this author profile. You can put stars around it to make it serious. And so it'll use this author profile. And because this author profile has everything to do with, I did a fictitious product, Ultra Pet TM oil, CBD oil for cats. And I made it up. And I gave it, I gave it a price. It's a fake product, but it doesn't matter. I said, write about this product, and here's our price, and here's our ratings, and here's the key points to cover. Use these testimonials with these stars. And it used it because that's what it was looking for. Remember, the page type will many times will be looking for this. That's what it used. You can also give it more instructions. You can also write in the end here, make sure to use the custom knowledge base attached. You could say that if in case it's not, if you really want to make sure. I would just leave it alone. Make sure this is written from the third party perspective and objectively written. You can give it instructions here as well at the end. And when that's done, I won't make us wait for the whole time. When that is done, let's go here, boom. Again, article builder for this one. When that's done, it will do an article. Our current high quality article system is version 2.1 beta. It'll do 2 or 3 of these scores in the green. It's not right off the bat. It's not too hard to get the rest in the green. And when it's done, you'll have CP. CP will be fed all this information, anything in the red, and it'll start giving you instructions on how to fix it. The instructions are pretty easy though. If you're too low, use the up score button. If you're too high, use the down score button. You can also ask CP and say, it says this is the spam score. For example, you can go, This is my H1 spam score. Please rewrite it to fix these issues. You can also do something like this and see people do a pretty good job. Okay, understanding supervision suspension systems, a comprehensive guide to the Jaguar XF. So I don't know if that's really any better, quite frankly. And it was green anyway. It's 40%. You might not be able to get better than that unless you use your own human intuition. That's still pretty good. If you read what it says suspension systems. What is the EMQ here anyway? Jaguar FX suspension components. Yeah. So to get it, a comprehensive guide is carried in current suspension systems, closely as suspension components, making it slightly risky but still acceptable. There you go. So this is as good as you're going to get for this, quite frankly. You do want it to be a little SEO-y. Spam and SEO are almost synonyms for this system. The more overly SEO'd you are, the higher the spam score is going to be. So there you go. And so it's not that difficult to get in there. So let's say this generated something here. Let's look at one that is really over the line here. See something that has red that the AI generated. I've been doing too many reports lately. Okay, this one, you could do this one. Let's try this one here. Okay, so this one is a little bit high in terms of the semantic score. That would be easy to fix. All I have to do is just delete some content. The content's a little too high. Just delete some content, and this will bring this down. Another thing I could do is 59 is a little bit over 52. I can also save this and check again in competitors, semantic scoring. Yeah, this guy is ranked, this guy shouldn't be, this guy shouldn't be here. That's bringing the average down a bit, so 59 is perfectly fine. That score is probably fine. But if I wanted to get it in there, it'd be no problem. Go to the bottom, highlight a sentence, and down score. If I do this enough, it'll start replacing all the keywords out. Down score rewrites it, gives it a much more human spin, takes out some of the very blunt keyword stuffing that it does. You're going to have to do a fair amount here to get rid of it. Let's do this one here too. Boom. And boom. Downscoring all that probably will bring this down a bit. Oh no, it's quite thin already. This is about as low as you can get it. And again, as I said, 59 is pretty good because all the other averages are slightly off. Jordan says, what is the average predictability length? How do you know where it's not removing a key needed entity and downscoring? Good question. So average, let me tell you what these scores are. Google semantic score is, as you can imagine, is the entities, the AI entities you need to use for not the one AI that Google uses to score pages. Google has like 8 AIs that does on-page scoring, and we rebuild models for all of them. So this is a complete tally. No other tool does this, I don't think. So this is a complete tally for the a complete tally of scores you can see here under entities for all those different models. How do you know it's missing? You'll see a big red here if it's of entities that are missing, and you'll see them summarized here in the SEO tab. Down here you'll see ones that it thinks are important, like radiators, XGR, car, pipes. These are the important entities that show a breadth of experience, of knowledge that an expert person would be using to talk about it. Jordan says, so if you're high, you've overused entities, right? To some degree, it just means that for the entirety of the content, yes, you've overused entities. So if I just delete some content here, I can bring it down. There you go, done. Now, when you remove content though, you gotta make sure your heat score didn't go too low because you might have removed the helpfulness. You might have removed a passage of text that's super helpful. And now it's not that helpful anymore. Okay, it's still in the green, although it's very low. A 78 score heat score is just borderline helpful enough. Jordan says, we tend to be over-optimized if I import our existing content. Okay, well then that's definitely a problem you need to fix. Over-optimization will destroy your rankings. Not as badly, believe it or not, as under-optimization. To be at 59 here was no problem. Again, because I showed you the average is off because there's some YouTube results there, which I'm going to be fixing this at some point. But I've got a lot of work that I need to do on the system. But even if it was generally over-optimized, that is a ranking problem that will drop you 4 or 5 points. But if you're under-optimized, if I was 9 under, I would drop 10 or 20 points because you're not relevant. Google only ranks content that it finds to be relevant. And when it finds it relevant, one of the big meanings of those words is you are semantically relevant. You're on the topic. You have the semantic meaning and you have the breadth and depth of knowledge of all these different ideas one needs to talk about, both in terms of phrases and in terms of the words that the phrases are constructed of to get the rankings to be relevant that you want to get. The average, so that's the most important one. And again, I have millions of records to prove that this is a statistically relevant and scientifically valid score. This score is only off by 5% tops. And that's only, again, because we are having trouble from our value SERP removing the correct pages. I will get that fixed in the next month or so. The second one that correlates with rankings most is the average predictability length. The average predictability length, what is it? It's the average number of words per sentence that a low quality writer would write. The most prosaic business speak writer, that could be either ChatGPT, because it is the most prosaic business speak writer, or a human, doesn't really matter. Google really doesn't care. Google does not care about AI content. Do not. Check their spam updates, they just did. They care about low quality AI content. As long as your AI content is high quality, and all these scores being the green proves it's high quality, because that's exactly what Google's looking for, and that you built it on the right topic to begin with, and you have the right page type, then it's high quality. Then you're relevant. That's what it means. That's who's ranking on. That's who's skewed statistically to rank number one. Pages that increasingly have this information and this page type with these scores. And the average that you need to be at and no higher is 4.13. You can have on average 4 words of prosaic business speak per sentence that an AI would have generated if you just let the AI generate it, or if a human had written it as low quality content driven. This one correlates with rankings the most out of all the scores here. This one the second most. The third most is the spam score. And this really does correlate with rankings, especially ever since October 7th. And these spam scores are not just for the body, they're for the URL, they're for the title, they're for the meta description, they're for the H1 and the body. All of these scores highly correlate with rankings. If you have a score of 0, you are much more likely going to be tried for a page 1, if not number 1 position. And if your spam score is 100%, if your however URL looks like this and it's way spammy, and the more it correlates, or any of these things correlate with the more it's 50% or higher, definitely the much more it will correlate with low rankings. Spam scores definitely correlate. Basically, if you have a spam score of 50%, you can correlate your rankings on average roughly speaking, at position 50, right? If your average spam's around 50%, that's basically where you can put yourself and where you'll be. No problem, Barca. I should have mentioned people who stayed in would get the freebie at the end. Okay, people who stay get the reward. So it's not that difficult. I have a lot here of resources of how to the help guide for CP, of how you could use CP and what you could use CP to do is here on the site. Also, there's a lot of help here on how to get the scores down, the heat score, how to get it down, et cetera, content score, blah, 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 how you can get all those scores down. There's a lot of help here as well. It's not that tough. All right, so, I would recommend you read it, but it is usually 99.9% factual. I've tested that pretty thoroughly. I would recommend, again, you make sure the heat score is the one that correlates the least with rankings, but it is really important to make sure you have a helpful article. It's not like it doesn't correlate with rankings. It does, but it's much messier than the other scores. Just because you're really helpful, but you're not on the topic at all. Well, this is much more important for rankings than this one is. But if it's the difference between you and somebody else, and it's going to be, the person who has the more helpful, experienced, expert opinions being leveled here and speaks to the topic more authoritatively is the one that's going to get the T, the trust. So that's been about an hour and 20 minutes. I think that's pretty good. What other kind of questions you guys have? What other questions you guys have for anything in the system? Any questions at all, by all means, please ask me, let me know. Both people who are listening in the YouTube and folks here on the call. Any other questions at all? No question, need to practice now. Yeah, no, indeed. No, fully understood, completely agreed. Yeah, practice makes perfect. But more and more the system's going to do it for you. If I, for example, let me just show you really easily. That's fine. I can leave it at an hour and 20 minutes. There's nothing to be rated. So as I promised, also for those who waited to the end, all good things for those who wait and people who signed up for the course. I have another freebie for you guys as promised. I have 30% off coupons that give you 30% off per month forever. Here is the coupon code. I'm putting it in the Zoom call in the chat. It's limited to the first 30 usage. So for those folks who are here in the chat, by all means, please use that coupon code to get 30% off on your subscription or your purchase. And you know what? People listening, by all means, email me and say you want the freebie coupon, the 30% off that you're watching on YouTube. I'd be happy to offer that to you guys as well. And that's it, guys. So again, Mike says, thanks again, Josh. No problem, Mike. SEO is super, super positive. It has never been more positive. You can definitely get the kind of results that I'm showing here, but you need to build consistently. You can't build one page a month. That's not going to be enough, right? You can't just build like one page a month. Even one page a week would probably not be good enough, definitely not for this niche, a competitive niche like this. One page a week would barely put you in line to rank for, niches like these niches here. That would barely be enough for these kinds of niches that aren't making too much money for one page a week. There is a lot of money that can be made still in SEO. And again, this is for all SEO. This is for local and global. This is relevant for any main search product of Google's. El Vlado says, thanks a lot. Very informative, very innovative, and great tool indeed. I'm glad you like it. I agree. Would I be positive about SEO if it wasn't for SEO Copilot? No, not at all. Google has put the hurt on SEO. Google has put the hurt on old methods, but that's okay because SEO Copilot is your new AI you need to use. And that's what the future of AI is going to be. It's not that AI is going to take your job. It's going to be some smart person using AI is going to take your job. So be that smart person using AI first. Google is using AI to get rid of low quality content. So use AI to make high quality content. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. And so use that 30% off discount. It will only work 30 times, so it's limited. So please email me if you want to get access to it, and or people obviously who are here in the course get first dibs on it. Again, you need to build up the pages pretty quickly, but you can, and you definitely will get results like this. I want to see your wins for SEO. For SEO University, our mastermind group here, which is this one here, we have a wins channel that we have where we show our wins, and it goes back here for months. We have wins that goes back every single month for every single year that the group has been around. I can't even click fast enough. Some of them are funny. I can't even click fast enough. Nude waitress Dallas? What? There's nude waitresses in Dallas? I need to move to Dallas. I can't even click fast enough to show you all the wins from nowhere to page one that some people are getting from the tool. And some of these are students, and some of these are just people who use the tool, right? The SEO knowledge of SEO University is baked into SEO Copilot and vice versa. So get in on the ground floor fast, guys, because once people realize that the white hats who are lying through their teeth and just scared and have no idea what they're doing are lying that AI content is bad, there's going to be a huge explosion of your competitors using AI content. So I think it would be smarter to get on it sooner. And our pricing is very, very cost effective. As I said here, let me stop showing it for a second. Let me share again. Our pricing is very, very cost effective. These prices are quite low considering the money you can make in SEO. Although again, just to get your feet wet, these are good. Take advantage of this limited time, 50 pages per month, guys. Please take advantage of this 50 pages per month. People are not building enough pages. You need to build more pages. I have plenty of customers emailing me saying, I built a page and it ranked #1. I'm like, great, awesome. And that is awesome, that's great. But then I check and I'm like, well, it's not really ranking for anything that makes a lot of money. And they only built one page and then they said, I'm done. It's like, okay, well, maybe if that's good for some of you, great, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're doing local SEO and you're doing a roofer's site in Brandon, Manitoba, and there's 3 roofers and none of them are building their website, okay, well, maybe 5 pages will be enough. But that is like in 0.1% of scenarios for SEO. In most scenarios in SEO, you gotta build up your pages, guys. You gotta have a bigger site. As you know, larger sites rank better. Everybody knows this, and it's still true. You just need to rank better with not lazy content. You need to rank better with high quality content. All right. So thanks very much, guys, for listening and watching. Let me just make sure there's no other questions here from anybody else here. Thanks, guys, on YouTube for listening and watching. Again, go here to SEOCopilotAI.com pricing. Make sure to take advantage of the 50 pages per month deal. You can add the 30% coupon to that if you like. That's a really good deal. It's not going to be on forever. I'm not going to be giving these deals forever. I'm just giving these deals to start off with because the uptick for AI tools and SEO seems to be a little slow for some reason, although I have thousands of people using the keyword discovery already. The uptick for the whole tool is a little slow, but it will be a huge crushing tool by next year. So I suggest getting on it as fast as possible. El Volado says, can you leave a link to the academy? Yeah, I have an old site, secretseo.guru. You can go there. It's old. I'll warn you, it's old, but you can learn about it there. You can also just email me, and I'll send you kind of I'll send you the I'll show you the it's really old, but this is generally what it gives, more or less. So go ahead, check it out. You can also email me, and I will. It's like 10 years old. It's like 9 years old because I've been doing it for 25 years now. I will send you more information if you want it. He says, got it. Thanks a lot. No problem. Yeah, my email address is joshbachynski@gmail.com. Yeah, go ahead and email me if you have any SEO questions at all. If you have any SEO questions at all, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Oh, it looks like Rashikesh has asked, Surfer SEO versus Copilot, the difference. That's a great question, Rishikesh. You know what the God's honest truth is? I have no idea because I don't use Surfer SEO. None of my students do either. We are like, and I try not to come off as like elitist, and I try not to come off as like sounding arrogant. But really the difference is like every other SEO group really has no idea what they're doing. And so we just have given up on them. We don't even listen to them. We don't even look at them. We've tested the algorithms for 9 years on our own, and I can guarantee you results. And I will publicly release them. You go to bit.ly/SEO proof and see the proof that I just was scrolling through. Definitely you can go there to see the proof of our rankings for that. So Surfer SEO is a very basic system. However, based on what I know of it, Surfer SEO is a very basic system that is not using artificial intelligence, not anywhere near to the degree that we are using it. It doesn't find you the best keywords. It doesn't have any idea how difficult it is to rank for them in any truth. It has very little idea how much money you'll make from them. It has no idea the topic you're supposed to write on. It has no idea the page type you're supposed to be using. It has no idea what might use a derivative version of one of the on-page AIs that Google is using to score semantic content, but that's it. It really is just a snake oil cash grab. Anyone ranking from it is just pure luck, right? You're like, but Josh, I ranked a page with Surfer SEO. I'm like, great, you're lucky. That's like going for a hike in grizzly territory and you didn't see a grizzly. Good for you. Happens all the time. And people are also killed by bears all the time. So that's maybe a terrible example because I bet you 80% of people who use Surfer SEO 80% of the time are not ranking on page one. I bet you the vast majority of people on Surfer SEO are not ranking on page one. I bet you any testimonials they have are from 10 years ago. If they're real at all, I will show you every 6 months the results of everyone's results with their names removed, of course, and the niches removed, like the EMQs removed. I won't share your EMQs, but I have all the ranking data of the system. And I know for a fact that the last time I checked, people get around on average an 8-spot boost. Every single customer on average gets an 8-spot boost. And the highest has been a 9 or 10-spot boost. And that I share publicly. So yeah, so I mean that's what I would say. I know people get very, they're like, oh, I love, I love whoever does does Surfer? Is Chase the guy who does Surfer? He used to be my protege. I know everyone is like, oh yeah, I love this guy and I love his tool, blah 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 blah. It's better because I like this guy, and that's okay, cool, and I appreciate it if I'm your guy in that way, but really that's not how you should be making decisions on how to make money and run your business. that's not really a valid scientific decision. I would humbly offer the suggestion that maybe possibly you should be going with the people who are willing to stand by their data, and they have some, and they can share the data. Just maybe that's maybe what you should do. I don't want to see you fail. I get so many emails. I used to. I don't get them anymore because all those SEOs have been cleared out. Before October 7th of last year, on a monthly basis, weekly during the penguin panda age, I would get an email of someone saying, Josh, I'm losing my shirt. I'm losing my whole business. Oh my God, please help me. And I would try to help them and try to do an analysis and try to do an audit. And some of them I was able to help, many, and some of them I was able to save, but many of them were just too far gone. It's like, okay, it's going to take $5,000 of linking every month from now on. Can you afford that? Nope. I waited too long. Okay, then sorry, then there's nothing I can do, right? I don't get that anymore because Google has finished off all those people and crushed them. They're finally gone. And that's definitely a sad thing. But I don't. That's how I'm looking at SEO. I know how many people have lost their shirts in SEO. I've been in this game long enough. I've forgotten more SEO than most people know, and I've said goodbye to most people in SEO that most people have never met and never heard of. Right? I've been doing this for a very, very long time, and I've had some very high profile associations and discussions with high profile SEO people. I'm probably the best kept secret in SEO, probably. And that's because I fully admit I'm autistic. I sound braggadocious. I'm not. It just because I have autism, this is the way it comes out. I'm just forthright. Trust me, I've been dealing with this all my life. Trust me. I made some very public enemies who are trying to screw me over on the regular. But that comes with the territory. That's fine. That's fine. So I see there's 8 people watching on YouTube, and there's just still definitely a bunch of people here in the Zoom chat. Do you guys have any questions? Let's just shoot the shit for a while. You guys got any questions? Anything else you want me to talk about? Anything else you want me to answer? By all means, let me know. Throw your questions in the chats. Any SEO questions at all? Let me try to add as much value for you as I can. But definitely using SEO Copilot, you should be looking like this. Your Search Console should look like this. Your ranking reports should look like this. From nowhere to page 1 for sure, if not spot number 1. That's what it should look like when you do SEO. If it doesn't look like that, let me help you. Let me help you show you how you can do this. I guarantee I can show you how to do this. By all means, ask me any questions while you have me here. Eli asks, how would you use your tool to optimize an existing page without altering a ton of the existing content? My client likes to write their own articles, and then I come in later to adjust. Andrew says, I've signed back up, Josh, thanks. Can you demo how to optimize existing pages? Oh, okay, sure. So to optimize existing pages, what you're going to need to do, and I've done a bunch of pages recently. So this was an audit I did for someone. I did a page audit. And as you can see, their page is pretty terrible. It's pretty easy. There's a number of ways you can edit an existing page. First off, you can have the AI generate all this stuff, or at least tell you what to do on all this stuff. If you read the spam score, it's going to tell you how to fix it. It's going to tell you what you need to do to get it better. And you can just click this and see what it generates to see probably, and then run it to see probably what it thinks the perfect URL or title or whatever will be. So you can read these, it'll give you an idea. And then for the content here, basically, there's a number of ways you can do it. You could do it manually, which I don't recommend, or you can do it AI assisted. There's a lot more ranking factors built into the AI generation that I'm telling you on air, because there are $100,000 secrets that SEO University has discovered that I cannot tell you because I have 100 students who pay me per month to keep that knowledge secret. If I just started blurting out the secrets, they wouldn't need to pay me anymore. And all the money they paid me would have been for naught. So they get very angry, as you can imagine, when I start giving knowledge away from my mastermind group, which I've already done too much in this tool. So I would recommend convincing your, either joining SEO University so you can learn the secrets as well, then you could do it manually, which again, as I said, if you're an SEO Copilot customer, I'm more than willing to give you a huge discount on SEO University, a 50% discount. But if you don't like that, that's fine. You don't have to join if you don't want it. Although I highly recommend it, because then you need to do off-page as well to probably make it as an SEO consultant or an SEO affiliate SEO or an in-house SEO. You're going to have to do off-page factors. On-page is most of the factors, but not all of the factors. Statistically, you're going to have to eventually get pushed into doing off-page, and then the question is, what do you do then? I would highly recommend you join SEO University for that. But how would you work with it with SEO Copilot? Well, I would try and rebuild it, quite frankly. I would rebuild the article. I would have CP write it. Now, this takes a very, very long time because I have a very complex chain of thought ideation, like 20 different writers all writing it and editing it and analyzing it and pulling in data that ChatGPT doesn't have. We pull in hundreds of data points to write this article, literally hundreds of data points we pull in. You would have to copy and paste hundreds of things into ChatGPT and have a much smarter ChatGPT to begin with, because I'm not using ChatGPT. You would have to literally paste in hundreds of things in repetition, up to a dozen times for like a dozen different tries to come even close to the complexity of CP's engineering. So again, I don't recommend you do it by hand. And there's a lot of SEO science and SEO secrets that are baked in to this that I cannot just come out and say. But if we go here to one, let's go to reports. And even if you're like, okay, Josh, that's not going to work. My client likes the way they write. Then I'm just going to be blunt and say, okay, then get ready for lackluster rankings. Unless your client happens to be the absolute best expert and they know how to write these articles and they're writing them with all of the stuff I talked about, all of this stuff here and all of the stuff here, and they're already doing it that way, well, then you have a chance. But these 4 scores are only like the after SEO scores. There's still, this needs to be covered and this needs to be covered. The page type needs to be covered. So again, I would really try to recommend that they either rewrite what the AI has generated, or why would you do all that work? It's like people don't use pens to write anymore. It's like we used to prick our finger and write in blood, and then someone invented the pen, and then we wrote with a pen for a while. And then someone invented the printing press. And then we wrote with a printing press for a while. And then someone invented the typewriter, et cetera, et cetera. And at no point did we wag our finger at the guy using the typewriter and say, how dare you use a typewriter and use a more efficient writing tool, the tool you should obviously use. You should be pricking your finger and writing in blood. That is just a backwards understanding of where we are as a society. AI is now here. And when there is an AI tool good enough to do high quality writing, and there is, that's what does the writing anymore. Like, why are you doing this math on paper? Use the calculator, right? So that's what I would try to tell my client. I fully understand if you're like, Josh, I can't do that. They would flip out. Fine, by all means. What I would do then is I would secretly generate the article that the AI generated. I would copy and paste portions of it that have the important entities, but you're never going to be able to manually seed this. Look at all these entities you need to manually seed. You can never do this by hand. SEO is not, here's another reason why people haven't upticked on SEO Copilot a lot. Because there's another lazyism that SEO has been using for 25 years. And it's this. It's the belief that you can just put a keyword in the H1 and put a keyword in the URL and put a keyword in the title, and then SEO is done. That's not how it works. And it hasn't worked that way for the last 10 years. And now people are really starting to realize that. You need to have all of these relevancy entities and all of the heat entities as well. And you need to do it in a way that's not predictable. And you need to do it in a way that does not seem overly SEO'd. Any of the obvious SEO moves from yesterday are exactly what the spam AI that Google has is trained upon. So you can't. I'm not making this up, guys. You can't do that anymore. If you understand where we are as a society and you understand how AI works, you realize, the writing's on the wall for 2023 SEO and anything previous to that. Because that's exactly what Google has 1 trillion pages a year that they train the spam algorithms on. It's done. That game is over. AI has already beat the best chess players, the best Go players, the best fighter pilots, the best breast cancer surgeons, not surgeons, but radiologists. It's over. And it's beat what was previously the best SEOs, who were doing, quite frankly, something that was, if you're being perfectly honest, and you look at the SEO that people have been doing 2023 and before that, it was pretty obvious shit, wasn't it? Jam in your EMQ here, jam in your EMQ there, sentences that sound like, hey, if you want the best red apples, we got the best red apples. Our red apples are the hottest red apples. Click here for more red apples. It was pretty obvious, wasn't it? We could spot it like that. When I talked with Matt Cutts over 10 years ago now, about 10 years. Actually, it was 2014. It was a San Jose, it's just over 10 years. It was the San Jose Spring Conference, SMX Advanced in San Jose. It was in April or May, something like that. March or it was April, it was spring. It was SMX West in San Jose, and I talked with Matt Cutts, who some of you might not even know. He was the main guy. He was the main search guy for Google for years. He made the whole thing, and then he left, I don't know, a good 9 years ago. And when we were looking at SEO together, and I said he was laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's not obvious, is it? He's like, yeah, of course, we could find that easy. He says, we're making anti-SEO algorithms. We'll easily find all that. And I don't think he was being braggadocious. He was because I was, making friends and being friendly at conferences. That's how you would get information out of Googlers. That's why we did it. And he's like, yeah, man, don't do it. I don't want to see you, lose your shirt. I was like, thanks, Matt. Then we had a big conversation, and then I kind of had a problem with some things, other things he said, but that's besides the point. So anyway, sorry for that rant, but what would you do? I would generate the article from AI. That's how you do it. Either in incomplete or in part. People don't write their own articles anymore. If you want the AI to write it like that person, give them a custom knowledge base trained on their writing. Say, write it like this. And if the custom knowledge base, either you can give them a piece of writing and say, copy this writing, or you can go to ChatGPT and say, give me a custom knowledge base based on these instructions. Follow these instructions and follow this piece of writing with these instructions. Give it to ChatGPT and say, give me a custom knowledge base. And it'll do it. That's something you can use ChatGPT for. And then it'll write exactly like your client, and the client won't even know if they wrote it or not. And if you're like, Josh, none of that's going to work, my client's going to know, it's going to be a problem, fine. Then the last thing you can do, because you cannot do this manually. You cannot stuff all these in manually. You're going to miss so many. It'll take you 10 hours to do a single page. That return on investment is far too low. You are not going to succeed. I don't know if you realize this yet or not. And I really don't mean to be the bearer of bad tidings. I really don't mean the guy with all the bad news. But that return on investment is not going to succeed. You'll go out of business in 5 years, or 4 or 6, whatever it is. But you will go out of business. You can't do it manually now. So what I would do is I would be like, okay, sure. Here's an article that the client wrote, and I need to put the stuff back in. I say, okay. I go here to the ones that are still missing. Of course, it's perfect. Nothing's missing because the AI did it. But let's say we had a whole bunch missing. I would come here to the ones that are missing. I would copy and paste them, and I go to CP after it's generated, because CP only works on the generated article. It cannot work on your article, right? So just generate a fake one, delete it, keep it there. It doesn't matter, and then say, okay, okay, CP, I am missing these entities. And then you paste them in and say, please rewrite this paragraph to have these entities. And depending on how many you're missing, it could stuff them in there. Then you paste in first section or paragraph. Have it right per section, right? Because it'll do a much better job if it does it per paragraph or per section. And then you put them all in section 1. And then it's like, sure, fine, I'll do it. And then it's done. Then you copy and paste it. And then if you want to even make it harder for AI to detect, downscore the whole thing. And then again, check to make sure it didn't get rid of all the entities. And then that would be probably the fastest, easiest way to do it. But I highly, highly recommend you just have the AI generate the article anyway. Because I will bet you the article that your human is writing is going to be worse quality in terms of these scores than the article my AI generates. I'm willing to bet you a 50% off coupon on that. Give me the article and be honest. Give it to me. Give it to me right now. Give me the article right now you think would be better than what the AI would generate, and I will do it after the broadcast. And if your human wrote a better article, I'll give you 50% off if you don't already have it. If you weren't one of the lucky ones who did the 10, we did 10 50% off coupons a couple weeks ago, and they got snapped up within 4 hours. If you're not one of the lucky ones already. But here's the thing: is that I know people are weirded out by new technologies. I know people are weirded out by new stuff. But quite frankly, AI is here, and we don't do math on paper. We use a calculator. We don't write web pages anymore. The AI does that for you. But again, it has to be a good quality AI, of course. It can't just be Chat GPT. All right. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Guys, I really, really want to see you succeed, because when you succeed, then you keep paying me money. So if you don't succeed, I don't get paid any money. If you don't succeed, I don't succeed. Our success is necessarily tied together. I'm not a snake oil, buy it and then never talk to you again guy. I'm a let's have a long-term relationship and my AI is going to help you guy, or my mastermind group is going to help you guy, because that's just how I operate. My master's degree and my PhD was primarily focused on ethics, even though it was interdisciplinary science philosophy. My focus was on ethics. I really do want you to succeed, and I really do feel empathy for those people who don't realize that it all comes down to this: return on investment. If this number isn't here, then you're not going to be able to do SEO moving forward. You might as well get another job now. And I would recommend something in the marijuana space, because it's still exploding. That would be a pretty future-proof, even with climate change and end-stage capitalism. Booze or drugs that people use increasingly to self-medicate will continue to be, scientifically speaking, growth industry. So I would recommend that. Doing SEO by hand is not a growth industry. Doing SEO by hand is dead like dead with X's in its eyes, dead. I'm sorry I have to be the bearer of bad tidings, but I have good news. I got a really cheap, very cost-effective OnPage tool that will revitalize your SEO. And for a limited time, you can get 50 pages a month, and the first 30 people who either email me or who are on the show here can use the coupon to get 30% off. And I'm still willing to give out coupons for this. These pricing will go away eventually. This pricing will go away. This pricing will go away. This price I've grandfathered and promised will always be here and will always have access to something. And the coupons will go away too. Because when I don't need to, when people realize that AI is the name of the game and this is what you need to do, I won't need to do this anymore. Have these low prices and have coupons. Just being honest, guys. Just being upfront with you, being forthright. And there's plenty of agencies that can easily afford this. Those are the kind of the customers I'm trying to go for. Because I can save them tens of thousands of dollars a month. They spend right now on writing. Do you know what agencies spend on writing right now? They spend like $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, some even more than that for lackluster rankings. I can bring that cost down to $1.44 a page. I used to spend $1,500 per page to have a US writer do 10 hours of research and write an article. It was $1,500 US per page. I can bring that down to $1.44 on the 144 for 100 pages price. And the time it takes to do that from 10 hours down to 10 minutes, and then you get a coffee, and then it's done in half an hour when the reports are done. That's the name of the future. Okay, guys. Do you guys have any other questions? Any other questions there, guys? Any questions at all? Throw them in there. Ask me anything. By all means. I have no problem answering any SEO questions. Throw them in there. Any people who are still here on the call or in the chat? There's still plenty of money to make in SEO. SEO is still a viable industry if you do it with AI. If you have AI doing it, you can make the money. Here's one of the proofs. I have a whole lot more proof there. Here's more of the proof. If you're making high quality content, Google is always going to love you because they need the high quality content. The truth is we have Google over a barrel. As much as they hate SEO, they need SEO, and they have always needed SEO. Who do you think made the link graph that they used to rank pages for all those years? SEOs. Who do you think makes high quality content to answer the questions that are fully relevant, that have all the heat stuff that you need to have the heat stuff, that has all the heat stuff and all the scores and relevancy scores in the way that their AI can understand it? And at the end of the day, their AI has to understand it mathematically. There is no other way. Statistically, this will win because Google needs us. If SEO stopped, Google would die. Google would die if SEO stopped because they would not be able to differentiate really good content from bad content. And the satisfaction of their users would drastically reduce. And the whole search this whole search sphere would drastically change. The ability to find quick, easy information would mostly be gone, and it would be much more complex, like a long conversation with an AI that barely understands and has to pick through a lot of different stuff. There would still be search, don't get me wrong, but Google needs SEOs to have the efficiency that they've relied upon for the last 25 years. So SEO isn't going anywhere. We are still going to rank, we're still going to make money, but you have to be more efficient than the Joneses. You have to be more efficient than the next guy, or it's not going to work. You can't just phone it in anymore like we've been phoning it in for the last 25 years. And that's fine. You can phone it in with AI doing the work for you, as long as you make sure that AI is giving you all the scores you need to make it high quality. And rest assured, if Google makes any changes there, which they really can't, you can't make it more helpful than helpful. Helpful is the end of the line. You can't make it more helpful than helpful, right? There's a way to help people understand a topic, and that is set in stone. It doesn't really change. You give them pros and cons, you give them a table, you give them choices, you give them all the expert tips and tricks. That's it. That's been the same since the dawn of time, since people began talking to each other. There was a Tao, if you will. There was a Tao of explaining well. And that is never going to change. There won't be this new thing called Fluba Juba that you need to talk about for the best ballroom dance shoes for women. There won't be a new kinds of pros and cons list called the flows and flans. That doesn't exist, right? Once you have the most helpful article, then once you're in the ballpark, you're in the ballpark. And so you don't have to worry about Google changing all these scores all of a sudden. Besides, they are statistically calculated on a semi-regular basis. If the numbers change slightly, then the numbers change slightly. You're still gonna rank. So if people are like, oh, SEO is gone, it's too hard. No, not really. SEO without the AI is too hard, that's for sure. But that's because we moved into the world of AI now. AI is going to help people do things they could never do before or were too hard to do before. That's just the world we live in now. And results like this will be maintainable as long as you're making high quality content and as long as your AI helps you do that. All right, any more questions there, guys? I see some more questions. Blake says, how do I get the first few SEO clients? All I could think of is cold calling or email marketing, but everyone is doing that. Do you got any suggestions? Yeah. Sometimes it's not running live yet. It has updated though. Sorry if that took a long time there, Blake. How do you get the first SEO clients? That's a great question. I would take a step back and say I would take a much more cohesive approach to SEO. There are many ways to make money doing SEO. SEO clients, if you already have a mailing list, is the fastest way, but you need a mailing list. Quite frankly, there are better ways of making money at SEO that have nothing to do with clients, like rank and rent, for example. Do a bunch of research in keyword discovery, find a bunch of niches that make money, rank a bunch of pages there, like in real estate or law, for example. Cold call everyone that is ranking around you on page 1 and say, hey, I got a bunch of free customers here for you. Do you want them? After you've started ranking and start to collect the leads, you have 10 or 5 of them, say, do you want them? They're free. And then when they say yes, there you go, and say at the end of the month, if those leads work out for you, then you can rent the page from me. That is in many ways a much easier path to making money. And if that doesn't work or you get tired of doing it, you can always sell the site. Digital real estate is another way to make money where you don't need to deal with any clients. So if you're just getting into SEO now and you don't have any other sticks in the fire and it's all like from ground zero go, trying to get clients is not the way I would do it. If I had to do it all again, trying to get clients right away is not necessarily the way I would try and do it. I would start doing rank and rent. I would start doing digital real estate. Because cultivating a brand and a name and cultivating your client services persona and your client services can be a much longer ramp up. Otherwise, how do you find clients? Well, what I would do is, if you're like, no, Josh, it has to be clients, I'm ignoring all the genius wisdom you just mentioned and I want to make it harder for myself. Okay, well, if you want to do clients then, just strictly clients, or you could do this simultaneously as you're doing the rank and rent and the digital real estate. And the affiliate stuff too, actually. Affiliate might be easier to making money sooner and faster because the only client you need to deal with is yourself. What I would do is I would go on to exploding topics and I would find what topics are exploding. And I would find good affiliate niches and I would call them up and make sure they're reputable that are going to pay you on all these niches. And there's thousands of new niches that make millions of dollars a month. I would get into exploding topics or I would join SEO University where I will give you the password that we share. Don't tell exploding topics. And then I would find the affiliate stuff for this or the rank and rent stuff for this. And I would start ranking for that. Quite frankly, I would do that. It'll be faster to do that than it would be to build up a client base. Quite frankly, Blake. Otherwise, clients is like the last thing you want to do for SEO. Clients are annoying. Clients want refunds. Clients don't want to let you use AI content when it's the most efficient thing to do, as we were just talking about, potentially. That's not necessarily where I would start. And I've been doing this 25 years and I've done every single kind of SEO there is for every single kind of niche there is. Porn to not porn, local to not local, et cetera, et cetera. In-house, consultant, affiliate, at the same time, separately, digital real estate, all the above. I've made the most money doing affiliate, for sure. That doesn't mean it's easy, but I've made the most money doing affiliate for sure. Um, but to answer your question, how would I get clients? Well, like as you said, everywhere is saturated. That's the problem. Upwork is saturated. It's like boomers, and no offense to anyone who's a baby boomer listening. Boomers have the opinion if you are talented enough, then your talent will break through and you'll be rewarded. Wrong, wrong. It doesn't matter how talented a comedian you are, for example, telling your jokes in a room with a million other people screaming. No one's going to hear you. We have oversaturation, right? We have oversaturation. So you could, and every place is so resistant to anyone trying to make a living off of something. We seem to have this view in this society that everything should be given away for free and no one should have to pay for anything. Like it's my fault that capitalism exists and that the economy is shit. It's not my fault. That's the case. I deserve to have be paid for my services. Sorry, that's the way it is, and so do you. But if you go onto Reddit, if you go onto any SEO forum, not only is it already hawkishly policed by the people who run it, they're all trying to make as much money off it as possible, because that's why they made the fucking community to begin with, of course. And they're not going to let you get in there. So unless you already have a mailing list, quite frankly, you can buy leads. You can buy warm leads from me. Quite frankly, I'll sell you warm leads. That's possible. Rushakesh says, but isn't affiliate SEO, blogging, and SEO dead again as per the SEO gurus with a giant smiley face? No, of course it's not. Good. I hope they say that. So there's more great niches for us. Blogging is dead if you're doing blogging of like yesteryear, yes, because that's again 2023 and previous SEO tactics. But blogging and affiliate SEO are not synonymous. You don't have to install WordPress. You don't have to install a blog. You don't have to install tag or category pages. You don't have to install all the crap that WordPress installs by default. That is the spam profile of every single spam page. The vast majority of them, 99.9 repeating percent of spam pages that SpamBrain is trained on. You don't have to make your page look like that, and you shouldn't and can't if you want to succeed. My students in SEO University, we make over $1 million a year easily doing SEO combined, easily. My one student, Renee, sold his site for $500,000, 500,000 euros. That's $1 million Canadian, over $1 million Canadian he sold a site for. Whatever that is American in euros, I'm not sure. It's like almost $1 million American. Blake says, wow, I never thought about these other things. Thank you, Josh. I agree. It looks like there is too much saturation in terms of the client-side thing. So I'll sell you warm leads. I can buy them pretty cheaply because I have the contacts, because I've been doing this forever. Presuming that I don't want to monetize them, and I usually don't, because clients is the worst way to try to monetize. And everyone usually the people who answer those warm leads are usually like $300 a month clients. And making money on a $300 a month client is impossible unless you use AI. So you have to be careful there. So doing client SEO definitely is not the way. You might get a better job golfing or doing tennis, or where rich people do their sports and they network. Find a place where wealthy businesses network, like golf or tennis or something like that, and then practice your highly polished SEO speech, and there you might be able to find some clients that would be worth it. Of course, being a member at a golf club where the rich people are is like 10 grand a month, 12 grand a month. So it takes money to make money. So if you find an easy place to get $5,000 a month clients for cheap, let me know, because I'd really love to see it. quite frankly. I lean on my mailing list of the last 25 years. But quite frankly, you have a much better chance doing rank and rent simultaneously with affiliate, simultaneously with digital real estate of the affiliate sites and the rank and rent sites that don't seem to, that fail, that you couldn't make enough money on. That's what I would do. And also, before I do client SEO, I would apply to every single in-house SEO job that exists to get a solid paycheck. And then unless they have a keystroke watcher, I'd be doing all that SEO at the same time during my in-house job. And if you want to be ethical about it, tell your boss, listen, I'm going to do SEO experiments, and that's what your SEO experiments will be. It'll be your affiliate stuff and your rank and rent stuff, but those are experiments, and that's what you do. And so they're getting paid to work per hour, and you're also learning more SEO, and you're diversifying your risk if that business goes under. If your CEO is an idiot and doesn't listen to your SEO advice that you learned from me and from SEO University and or from SEO Copilot. I would do all of those kinds of SEO first, hands down, before I would bother trying client SEO. Because every single place is saturated with people who can always underbid you and who talk like they know what they're doing. And everyone's always looking for a cheap buck. And so they'll go with the underbidding anyway, usually, until they've been burned by enough of those people. And then they might hire someone who knows what they're doing. But in this economic climate, I definitely would not recommend client SEO. That definitely wouldn't be my first. That definitely wouldn't be my first choice for faux show, to use the vernacular. Faux show. All right, guys. Any more questions? I'm happy to answer any SEO questions you guys got. Let me refresh the page here, see if it's slow. What other SEO questions you guys got? Or can I go eat lunch? Do you guys want to eat a late lunch? Or do you want more questions? I'm happy to answer them. Let me know. What do you got? What SEO questions do you have? People want that coupon? Here's the coupon. There it is. First 30 people who get to use it, 30% off. And don't forget, we've got, where is it? We have 50 pages per month, only for a week. That could really help you get your beak wet, get your feet wet. You could build up a good rank and rent site for this. You could do that, a good affiliate site for this. There's a lot that are in range, for sure. For affiliate stuff, and I've done a lot of affiliate work. I've worked both in companies. I used to work for Sal Health. I was their in-house SEO team lead. I did over $1 million organic per month with them. They love their affiliates. Their affiliates make them a lot of money. Here's a pro tip, and I've also been an affiliate and I made 30 grand US a month doing affiliate stuff. And you can too. There's plenty of niches, you can too. Here's the pro tip. Affiliate is very sleazy, however. It tends to sleazy people who do sleazy sales or doing quick buck stuff. Not all of them, but it kind of skews in that direction. A lot of the affiliate niches like herbal Viagra and weight loss pills, is barely regulated. It can be for some, not for Sal Health. Sal Health spends hundreds of thousands of dollars per month on doctor studies proving that their stuff works and how well it works, because they've been sued a couple times, and so they've learned their lessons. They have huge lawyers on retainer. I can only say very positive things about Sal Health. But whatever affiliate network you want to be part of, call them on the phone and talk to your affiliate manager and get a sense for what are the hot products, what are the hot products coming up. I want to do SEO, what are your other affiliates doing? They will tell you. They'll tell you all the secrets they know. They will tell you the hot products coming up. To be like, oh yeah, stay away from this one. We're discontinuing it in a few months, but this one is the new one. Get on this one. It's going to sell really well. We got good commissions for it. And know them by name. Network with that guy, your affiliate manager at whatever affiliate place you go to. If it's Sal Health, when I was there, it was Bruce. Mike was the marketing manager. I think Mike is the chief marketing officer now. I think Bruce has moved up. I think they have a different affiliate manager now. But call them on the phone and talk to the affiliate manager. And if it's still Bruce or Michael, say Josh sent me because I used to work there. You know, I left. I like those guys. They're good affiliate guys. And say Josh says you guys are the best and you won't screw your affiliates over. Derek Gale is the CEO now. He is an old school internet marketing guru from way back. I learned a lot from him too. Some of the stuff I learned from Derek Gale, actually, I built into here. Some of the stuff I learned from him. Some of the tips and tricks of the old school guys who've been doing this a very long time. All right, guys. So that's what I would recommend. The future is positive. The future is bright. You can make money doing this, but we got to think about it differently. We got to think about how to do it with AI. Maybe you're in a local niche that one page a month will do you. Okay, great. And maybe you can afford, maybe you're doing in-house SEO and you only have really 10 pages you care about. Well, that's still risky. I would say, hey, how about you have 1,000 pages proving your salary is worth it so you don't get laid off? Or how about you have 1,000 pages ranking so you prove, so you give the business diversification, whether your CEO is looking for that or not, someone should be. But even if you're like, Josh, I only care about 10 pages. I don't really need to build any new ones. Okay, maybe you can afford to be paid 8 hours a day. Maybe the company makes literally that much money that they could subsidize the SEO. But I don't think that's a very good position moving forward to be in. Whether your CEO is like, don't worry, I'll never fire you. And don't worry, well, even though the SEO doesn't pay your salary, we'll still keep paying you. I don't think that's a safe position, quite frankly. Jordan here says, with creating content at that volume, how do you watch for cannibalization? Seems like there will be a lot of overlap. That's a great question, Jordan. Thanks so much for asking that. And the answer is, I don't care about it at all. Google will figure it out. Google doesn't work that way anymore. Keyword cannibalization used to be a big thing. I will fully admit it isn't anymore. Check this out. Look at these. Okay. How many pages do I have ranking for this? This one here that is getting some partial rankings. One page. How many pages do I have ranking for this one? Getting some partial rankings. I have 2 pages. They figure out which one they like the most. And quite frankly, personalization, they figure out which one they want to show. For example, look at Jaguar Parts here. Look how many different pages they have ranking for this. A whole bunch, because they're like, oh, I know you have an XJ8 from your personalization, so I'm going to give you the XJ8 page. Oh, I know you have an XJS, so I'm going to give you the XJS page. Usually it's not a problem. And if you have one that's like really halfway between this and halfway between this, but that never happens anymore. You're not going to see it. But even if you do, then just 301, the weaker one to the stronger one, and you're done. It is too inefficient to pick a page and build it and spend 100 hours doing it. You don't get 1 million impressions for the last 6 months by picking a page and doing it. You need to carpet bomb. It's not spray and pray. It used to be called spray and pray. And that's what people think I'm saying to do. It's not what I'm saying to do. AI can laser target and snipe pages at a carpet bombing, at a spray and pray approach. So I call it targeted carpet bombing. Like the bombers of World War II. If you guys watched Masters of the Air, how they would fly in during the day and they would do targeted bombing, and they would 90% of the time get their target, but they're dropping a lot of bombs at the same time. That's the thing you want to do. Maybe Masters of the Air is a bad example because a lot of those bombers didn't come home, very sadly. So maybe that's the worst example, but it's like that. It's like the mighty American military with their very impressive munitions and armaments, firing guided missiles from a ship 20 miles away and nailing the target within 3 feet. That's what it is. And firing 100 of those at once, nailing the targets. That's what it is. That's the approach you want to use. And if one of them happens to overlap on the other one, which I guarantee to you, I'm 99% sure is not going to happen with the way that Google's AI works these days, 301 it to the next one and move on. If you go into page experience here, pages here, and you see, wow, there's a lot of not indexed, and you see crawled and currently not indexed, and you go, oh, wow, that's not good. And you go in here and you see pages that should be ranking that otherwise are not. Like, you shouldn't have any of this feed crap here, right? This should all be turned off, all this feed shit. But if you see a page that's a product page that should be ranking, and you're like, this is taking rankings away from one of the other ones, fine, then 301 it to that other page and you're done. It's not a problem. Because the alternative of manually trying to build these pages is just not going to work. It's just, the ROI is just not high enough. Eventually, your competitors, either because they have a well-oiled team of people over in, and again, I love you guys, people in India. I love India. I love Indian food. People in the Philippines. I love Filipinos. I love Filipino martial arts. I'm no good at it, but one of my black belts is in a Filipino martial art. I love the Philippines. I love Filipino people. Don't get me wrong. But those guys can work. They're very smart over there. Those guys are really smart over there. Really well educated. A lot of them. Not everyone, of course. And they can work really cheap. And so your agencies that have a team over there and has had this well-oiled team of those great guys over there working, for like $10 an hour, AI will eventually beat them too, because AI can work for cents on the dollar, right? And the cost of inflation affects the economies worldwide. And now, if you try to hire someone in India or the Philippines, quite frankly, their prices are pretty comparable to people in the States too, quite frankly. At least in programming it is. In SEO it is, for sure, for anyone who knows what they're doing. For design and agency work it certainly is. People in the Ukraine as well. They're charging pretty much American prices. So ROI, again guys, is how you need to think of it. Return on investment in a niche that has enough money is the person who wins. Choose a niche that has enough money that still has, look, Keurig and Coffee Pot. It's 21% easier to rank for than the rest of the internet. And it makes 50 grand a month. You need to find these golden keywords, these golden opportunities that people have overlooked. That maybe last year this was super hard because there were so many people ranking for it, and then Google destroyed them, and now all that money is up for grabs now. You need to use AI to cast a wide enough net to find them. And you need to have the best return on investment. You can win, guys. You can win at this. You can make the money, and you will make the money when you're doing the correct research. And nothing makes me happier when either I find for my own rank and rent and affiliate stuff or client stuff, or for students, I do more student work and consulting, when I'm finding these niches and saying, look, go for this one. Do not try to rank for coffee. Try to rank for this one here, or this one here. Look at these ones. And if you're like, isn't this the same query? Yes, it is. And isn't Google doing query interpretation on this? Yes, they are. And wouldn't you rank for all these that are at 300,001? Yeah, actually, I can do it by this and see much more clearly the ones that are going to be all the same. All these ones here that are at, actually, there's only one of them. Look, 204, 204. These guys. These two are the same. Wouldn't I rank for both? Yeah. But shouldn't I go for the easier one first? Yes, because specificity will always win. The guy who's specifically on this and has put that in the right spots in not an over-optimized way is always going to beat the guy who did a general high-quality article and just wrote like a human. Writing like a human is never the way to do SEO. It never has been and never will. The way in which you optimize and the aggressiveness in which you optimize and the sophistication of your optimization and the quality value you're giving Google has always been the deciding factor. SEO will always work, but you have to have that ratio. The sophistication of your SEO needs to be sophisticated enough that it's not brute force, obviously stupid jamming in keywords. And at the same time, your value proposition in terms of the high quality expertise you're showing in that page, and just delighting users with a delightful web page that had everything they need, and they're like, wow, this is the best page ever. If anyone actually shared pages or made links anymore, I would do it, but no one does that, so I'm not going to. So we can't. So that's why Google can't use that and rely on that as off-page factors anymore. They partially do, but having that high level of a quality threshold as judged by their AI, because that's who judges it, because humans used to judge it, the human quality raters, who they fired, they machine learned everything they did, then they fired them. That's how AI is going to work from now on, and you need to use it. You need to be one of the persons who use it. That's always going to win and always going to work for SEO, and there's ways to make money doing it, and there always will be. You just need to have AI working for you. You need to be, Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor did a pretty good job against the Terminator, but that was never going to work long term, as you saw. But when in Terminator 2, when the little kid, John Connor, had his own Terminator, had the AI working for him, that's how it works long term. You need to have the AI working for you. The better AI needs to work for you, and that's the one I got. My AI is the T1000. When it targets the low-hanging fruit here of which one you can punt off the SERP, it knows which one you can punt off the SERP. Maybe this is a bad example because the Keurig brand is here. Walmart and Keurig, big brands are here. This was a terrible example. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is generally easier, and you could still maybe even rank for it once you become a household name in terms of being an informational site on Josh's Best Coffee or whatever it is. Josh's Best Coffee.ninja. Coffee.ninja or whatever it is. And then you have all these great articles because these big brands are not giving good quality articles. And they decide to put one of the review style ones in there. Keurig and Coffee Pot. This could be a different article entirely for Keurig and Coffee Pot. Okay. All right, guys, it can work. Do you got any more questions? Any more questions, my friends? Any more questions at all? I'm happy to answer 3 minutes more questions. Then I got it. My voice is sore. I gotta go eat something. I'm starving. Guys, it can work. It will work. You just need to use the AI to do it. And it's very cost effective right now to get into the game. Very cost effective to get into the game. Jordan says, thanks so much for the time. I like the time, Josh. Appreciate it. No problem, man. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to shoot the shit, to tell you what's what, because I get pleasure in this. I get joy in helping people have a career in this. I really hate capitalism. I really hate how expensive everything is. And I really hate that I can't fix it. This is the only way I can fix it, by giving you the cheapest, awesomest software and telling you how to use it to have a career. And I've done that for decades. And my students are the proof. My students are the proof that we know what we're doing. If you search my name, no one else is synonymous. Here, watch. Josh Bashinsky. Where is it? Here, search engine optimization. My entity is synonymous with search engine optimization. No one else does this the way I do it. Nobody. No one does it the way I do it. Even old Barry had to admit that I kind of, even though I'm an asshole, I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I like to help people. Get their career in SEO. I can help you too. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks for watching. Again, if you have any questions, please, by all means, email me. The first 30 people to use that coupon will get it. We'll get the discount. Let's see here. The coupon has already been used. The coupon has already been used. Awesome. Fantastic. There's only a few left. You could use them. If you're having any trouble or problems using the coupons, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you out. And guys, be positive. SEO with AI is a godsend. It is a breath of fresh air, freeing us from all the tedious SEO bullshit so we can spend more time building better businesses for ourselves and our clients and having a better life, a more risk-proof life, a better diversified portfolio of how to make our money and how to live well. And SEO has allowed that for me and for my students in underground SEO University, and increasingly now for my customers of SEO Copilot. That is nothing short of that. Giving you a better life, nothing short of that is my goal in this regard, and I'm happy to do it. All right, guys. I hope that helps you out. Email me if you have any trouble. And as always, as I say, I won't say good luck in the SERPs because you don't need it. Carpet bomb the fuck out of it is what I'm going to say. Get the AI on your side. Get the Terminator on your side.